All right, so blocking scheme, we use something called the L rule, and this is essentially for the guys next to number 1, next to the read key. So if we're running outside Veer here, like I had on the previous slide, we identify first guy out C gap, he's going to be our 1. Our tight end, you can either do tackle over, we just cover our tight end, less teaching. We used to run where we bring a tackle over, put the tight end to the nub, had all these visions of running some kind of plays back to the tight end run, and it just never happened and never executed, so we just cover our tight end now. But he knows if the read key is to my right, he's going to hold up his right hand. He's going to make a 90 degree, call it an L. Throws guys off because it's a backwards L sometimes too, right? He's going to hold up his right hand, and his rule is backside gap, man on, downfield. Well, he's got a vortex, so we'll say that's backside gap. So he knows he's going to work a combo block there. If the team were to kick into, say, a 3, well, there's no one on his backside gap. So, okay, backside gap's not there. I'm just going to go immediately downfield. Our wing does the same thing. So the wing's got the read key to his left, so he'll hold up his left hand. He knows that's 1. But hey, well, that's the pitch key. I got to shut that down. I'm not blocking the pitch key. So now I'm downfield, checking second to third level. Usually it's going to be the safety kind of running the alley. I mean, 52 teams rarely are going to scream a backer from the inside all the way out. I have game film here against the team. They run this where they like to slant that tackle. We used to have issues with slanting D linemen when we had kind of a gap scheme, and we basically said, screw it. If you're going to slant, we're going to triple team. Whichever way he slants, those two double, and then the other guy combo goes up. So if he's a 4 and he slants in, these two dudes are going to take over. Tight end releases vertical. If he slants out, it's going to be a give. These two double team, he's going to work vertical, and then our fullback has to cut underneath it. It's one thing if you can get your fullback to work on reading that, we call him the cut key. Now it almost turns into a zone play. Fullback this year, very tough runner, very straight ahead runner, is having a hard time seeing those cuts. And I'm trying to talk to him about it. He's a farm kid. He told me, and I didn't know this till this year, when he was a little kid, he got kicked by a cow in the face, and he's half blind out of the left side of his left eye. Oh, that makes sense why you never see the cut. Like, dude, don't you see the hole? He literally did it. So, maybe something to work with. You find out if your kid's half blind. But in theory, he'll just cut off that, and you essentially have his own play. But this is where when we got away from our gap scheme and we're essentially scooping everything. Now we're always 2-on-1. On the backside, as I said, we're going to scoop, we'll cut, we don't even block that guy in the line. We have yet to find a team that can bring him off the backside edge and get there. It just hasn't happened yet. If he's a super stud athlete, maybe he would, but we just haven't had. So we really like 50 teams. If you're going to put 5 guys on the line, we're just going to not block one. Now, because he's on the line, he can't impact the play. Where if he was, like say a 43 look, he's off the line, now he's theoretically on the play more. So. If you have any other questions about block, I'm not going to go through all the details of blocking every different front, variations of it, but if you have that stuff, I'm happy to stick around afterwards or email me if you watch it later. All right, so now let's get into our 2-man game. This is, like I said, really took kind of a form of its own last year. So in the past, we would just call no pitch. So we call our outside Veer, inside Veer, no pitch. And it got just a lot of verbiage. We're finally doing it so much, we're like, let's make it its own series. So this is our 20 series. Here's why I like it. We can run it out of any formation. As long as there's a fullback, we can run it. If you want to run triple, you always need to have a backside wing. If we're on triple option to our left or to your right, you have to have a wing there to be in pitch phase. Well, that gets tough then when we get into some of our unbalanced looks. I'll show you, we like to really overload one side. We'll put 6 guys to one side of the ball, force the defense to shift. You're kind of limited in what you can run. So the 2-man game allows you to still run an option play either direction, even if you don't have a pitch phase. It's also good into the boundary. It's tough to run triple option into the boundary. It just is. We have a senior year quarterback who's a phenomenal player this year, all-conference player, the conference player of the year, both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Best quarterback I've had. Even he was reluctant to pitch into the boundary. He's just not comfortable doing it because everything's compressed. So if you get your kid to do it, that's awesome. I find let's just run our 2-man game into the boundary. We don't have to even worry about it. Really good for our JV guys because it's a faster read. It's either give or keep. There is no pitch. It allows your young guys to play faster through their progression. And then finally, it minimizes turnovers. We got, last year we get into some games where we have the lead late. We don't want to pitch the ball. Like our quarterback should be pitching. He's not going to just because he knows he wants to, he's afraid of the turnover. Well, that's called a 2-man game. One disadvantage, because there's no pitch phase, defenses don't need to defend it, obviously, and then you lose your potential for a big play. So there's always a disadvantage to every play, but this one has a lot of upside to it. All right, so I'm going to kind of talk over the concept and then show you a lot of the formations. As I said, we're a multiple formation team. I like to run different formations to make the defense adjust. And then if they're gonna show me something, then they're giving up something as well. Right? Every defense has a weakness. If you can find out what that is, what they're trying to hide. Sometimes it's a player they're trying to hide. Other times it's a gap in their, a weakness in their schematics. Find what you can take advantage of. So we get this, we call it our Trey Formation. This is not a two tight, we can also go out a single tight. What I like about this formation is it presents a 3 receiver side, but also run strength. We'll run a variation where we kick them out and we run a true trip. So we can run sprint out to this. We can run 3 or 4 verticals. So if you get a cover 3 team, we can still run 4 verts at it. It's good against that, but then it's also, because we have this wing attached, we can still run triple to the backside. Okay? So this would be like a look at what we'd call 26 or a 2-man game. Essentially, it's outside Veer rules, except there's just 1. There's no 2 and there's no 3. So everything as I showed previous slides is the same out here. We're working our L rule, triple team and back inside. Our wing now, because he knows it's double option, that there's no pitch, he's going and arcing right to safety. What I love too about this is running play action on this look. Because oftentimes what happens, this dude, he's coached, come down on fullback, right? Now our quarterback is out on the edge, we got a hat on a hat, our quarterback's our best athlete, most option teams that's true. The safety now has to get real aggressive, and now that opens up the seam. We'll also run play action with 3 verts, where we run the tight end up the seam to hold that free safety, send the wing up the seam as well. And our quarterbacks don't pass a lot, but when we do, it's usually a big play. And it's basically reading one guy. The quarterback can read that strong safety. It's usually one receiver or one defender read for him.
On the play action, you still read the D end?
No, our fullback has D end. Our fullback, so all of our play action, well, I should say most of our play action, the fullback is going to end up taking the read key. So he's going to go a little bit wider on this path, and he's just a token fake, and he's fitting up inside and trying to kick this dude out. For him, he gets this inside release from the tight end, it looks like option to him. So what we found is oftentimes he'll just come and try to tackle the fullback, and he realizes he doesn't have the ball, and we're usually good. So quarterback's going to open up his normal steps, outside Veer steps. He gets his first long, his gather step, and he's going to get back 3, set up and throw. I found our play action protection is actually better than our normal drop back. When we have to drop back, it's usually not so good for us. They bring those D linemen tricks. We go play action. Everyone's trying to figure out their option assignments. Usually we're pretty good at play action. Out of this 2 tight end look, we like to just keep him in and block. We'll also run this formation and have him split out as our Z receiver, and we get single man coverage in the backside. I have some clips of that where teams get nervous of that, and it opens up stuff on the front side. What's cool about what I like about this too is out of this Trey formation, if you still wanted to run triple option in the boundary, you could. Either inside Veer or outside Veer. It's still a good play, so you got kind of both choices. If I was lined up on the right hash, on the left hash, I might go Trey to the field, and then look at how they line up, and I can either run my 2-man game. I'll hold on to that, because I'll show you. I got it actually drawn up how you run a 2-man game into the boundary here. So as I mentioned earlier, we'll also run, we just call this Trey twins, or Trey spread. You can detach the Z, so now you present more of a passing threat. Again, you can go 4 verts. You probably can get some kind of man coverage on the backside if you have a solid receiver. You want to take advantage there. We can still run our 2-man game to either side. We got into tagging a lot of stuff with bubble, where we run some kind of twin set out here, and the call would go into the quarterback. Think 20 bubble. He gets up the line. If he likes bubble, we're taking it. If the team's going to walk down and take away bubble, or split out, take away bubble, all right, we'll just run option. Drew up an even front, the same kind of formation. Just throw, if you wanted to run it back into the nub, you certainly could. So this would be, this one is essentially like outside Veer, where you're attacking that 9. This would be inside Veer, so any point is the guard's butt crack, like if you had a traditional 4-front team running like a 3-1. One thing to be aware of though, if you are running this, how they play that backer. If they're a pinch scrape team, the play's dead. Because you can't pitch off him anymore. In triple, you can pitch off him, right? Okay, we'll count, he'll be 2, we'll just pitch off him, we're good. If you get in this look and they're a pinch scrape team, quarterback disconnects and now there's a linebacker scraping in his face. I have a clip of that I'll show you. And then, that's not a good play. You gotta kind of know how the defense likes to defend you.
Will you ever read the linebacker then?
Yeah, we played Mondovi this year for the conference title. A very, very good team, very physical. We got into some twin sets, and it sort of just happened by accident. We got in twin set, we noticed they were walking that stand-up out, And so we were literally running two-man game at, you know, a guy who's out in space. And that started to really gash them, and they had to, then they had to start they started bringing that safety down, and then we actually run some big play action off that. So yeah, you can. It just, you gotta, again, what's this dude, you know, here's a better look at it. Like if you, let's say they wanted to apex him out, maybe you're throwing slant here, so like, okay, after we're gonna walk him out, take away slant. Well, now you could theoretically run outside veer at this guy. Aiming point be here, you just gotta know what's he doing, you know. It's a little bit tougher of a scoop block, but we've done it. Especially if a team, like if a team's a slant team and you know which way they're gonna slant. Like we get a slant angle team where, hey, they're gonna slant to our strong side, and then they wanna have this dude kind of be an apex player to take away the quick slant game. It's like, okay, well he's slanting away, that's an easy scoop block, and now we're right up on that alley. Yeah. And this is where coaching the quarterback to run that two-man game, he can do, we had a 3-year starter, senior, as I said, very good players, playing at River Falls, committed or decide he's gonna. I gave him a lot of free reign. I trust him a lot. We worked a lot in the classroom on this stuff too, you know, a lot of walkthrough stuff. He got real comfortable. He'd see, hey, let's check to this, let's check to that, you know. So here's a Twins look. As I mentioned, we take a lot of stuff with bubble, so this would go into, say, 20s bubble. In the past, before we had our 20 series in, we got into this formation and we were pretty limited. We essentially had to run either midline or we had to run to the twin side. We didn't have anyone to run pitch phase. We dabbled with having this guy come in motion and stop and be in a pitch back. It just never really materialized on the field. It looked good on paper, the timing was tough, it was a tough read, it just wasn't very effective for us. So we'll get into this look and we can run our two-man game to the outside, or to the tight end side. We can throw bubble back. This is what I was talking about with Mondovi. We got into this look and then we actually ran our two-man game at this dude here. And our wing, Al, was running up and picking up the safety. So that safety started screaming down the box, and that's when we ran play action. We actually hit this guy twice on the seam. It was really the only thing that kept us in the game. We couldn't run the ball, but we had a ton of passing yards.